Hi and welcome to the Joy of Photography series. Now today I've been out on one of those grey days, one of those early spring days when there are squally showers coming through. Very windy, but by going to a high point and looking out into the distance, you can see those showers dumping bucket loads of rain on the poor people below. And it's an ideal opportunity to go black and white and zoom right the way in. Grab your camera. There's rain bucketing down in the distance, and I can't help thinking, let's get a long lens on quickly, see if we can capture that. Now that rain's not going to hang about forever, so let's get a camera out. I'm going to go big. I'm going to use the D810 with a long lens on. Take the body cap off first, always a good idea before you fit your lens. So the D810 is going to give me some big files to play with, which means I can zoom in. So let's not waste any time. I've got the tripod over here already. Always like to do a exposure first of all and work off that. Let's have a look. Oh, that's not too far off straight away. As you can see, that cell, rain cell over the top of that hill there, dumping a load of rain into the little valley there. It's coming this way, so it can't be too long, and it's moving quickly. Well, it's getting windy now. It's gone noticeably darker and the rain is on the way. Let's get into the edit. Not what you may be expecting when I said we were going to do some nice black and white atmospheric stormy pictures, but as you can see, this rain dumping down here, dumping down onto this housing here in the valley, and it's exactly what I want. Now these pylons obviously are a problem. They're going to have to go. So our first job is to get the cloning tool. This is probably a bit overkill because it's going to be so dark down at the bottom of the picture. I don't think you'd see them anyway, but I'll do this so that I know they're not going to show up. So there we go, they're all gone. Now the next thing I need to do is make this black and white. So I'll go image, down to hue and saturation. And here's the saturation slider, and we'll bring that over to the left, all the way left, and we're in black and white. So we're ready to go. Now the next thing we do is start dealing with the levels. I see this as three pictures. We've got the sky and the stormy clouds is one exposure. The town in the middle is another exposure, and the foreground is a different exposure. So let's take the sky. We go just modify feather. We always like to feather, as you know. Get the levels palette up, and let's take the greys down and the blacks. Let's let the storm come alive. There we can see the rain, and as you can see, the top of the hill is going dark because that's underexposed now, but that's okay. That's going to lie in perfectly with the storm, because it would be in shade, it would be shadowed. So okay, let's take our marching ants now and start dealing with the foreground. So we'll cut out across here, staying in the darker area as we cut, and now we've got the foreground, and we know we want to take that dark because what we want is a little sort of light on the town itself sitting in the valley. So to force the eye into the picture, we're going to need the foreground dark. Light has the ability in a picture to force the eye to look in a certain area. So if we take the light from the foreground area, it will force the viewer's eye in to where we want it to be. And we're carefully cutting out on the black line now because we're going dark, so we choose a black area for the cutout line, and we go feather, our adjustment levels, and we start playing with these. I take the whites up first of all because we know we're going to want it contrasty, and the greys come down, and as you can see, the picture is starting to emerge, isn't it? Take those blacks into there. And at this stage now, I am starting to experiment. I'm going to experiment with the levels down in that valley to find where I need them to be. I use the dodge tool, the burning in tool, first of all, the one that's the little hand on the tool palette, and I'm just burning in the areas that I want to darken, and I'm going slowly. As you know, I'm down at about 5%. And we're just going to gently paint paint the areas in. And using dodging and burning like this means it's your picture. It's not just a Lightroom plugin that somebody else did the software for, it's yours. And now I'm going to the dodge tool and I'm going to lift some of the highlights. Work slowly, it's your picture. Paint it on, make it yours. Make every single stroke count. And if you don't like it, just go back and then do it again and again and get it just how you want it. This is your picture. And now I'm going to go to my lasso tool and I'm going to draw a lasso around the light areas of the image, the areas that I actually want to appear as light areas on the image. And that's these here, and lovely. Right, so feather those, down modify feather and a smaller feather area, 60. And we're going to ease these in. Let's bring the whites in and you can see they'll start lightening up now, look. Bring them in, bring the blacks in a touch. And we can start to see this town nestling underneath this hill. Now let's filter some grain in and go filter gallery and grain. And there we are. And now we'll have that actual feeling of a gritty sort of film black and white image. So let's start manipulating this now and cutting out the area at the bottom, and we're really going to bring the level up. There we go. And we can start to see those fields start to take shape. Can you see them? Just adjust those overall levels, bring the blacks in a little bit now, that stormy sky. I think it needs recropping. I think that's what we need to do next so we can see what we're doing with the actual image. So let's go over to the crop tool and start messing with the final image. And obviously this was a very, very long way away. This is done on a 200mm lens, a long way away. And the reason I can do this is it was shot on the Nikon D810 on large, which means it's a 103 megabyte JPEG. So even though I've cropped it now, I'm still working on a, what's that, 16 meg or something image. So that is the benefit of having the large sensor. And I'm going to get the burn tool and start putting a bit of action into these clouds. And the beautiful thing about dodging and burning in clouds is that it doesn't really matter if you can see the odd lines, because it just looks like the cloud. We start getting some feeling. And now what I'm going to do is cut out specific areas that I want to see the light and work on them individually. So in each area I'm cutting it out, feathering it, getting the levels and bringing the whites up. And can you see they're starting to show in the picture, giving me a little bit of foreground detail but still drawing the eye in with shadow. And now the main area, I'm going to cut that out and feather it and start manipulating those levels there. And we can start to see the town, look at that. And now we're going to draw across the top of the hillside, but making sure we stay on the black side of the cutout, because we're going to go dark and feather that, and we're going to bring that sky down and now start feeling a little bit more stormy, and now at that gloriously wet weather. And a little recrop there, and I think we're nearly there. It's starting to look how we want it. And the final stage now to make it pop is where we bring in the greys. Look at that, that's lovely. And bring those greys up, and now we can see the fields in the foreground leading us in, like some sort of impressionist picture, leading us in towards that storm. And last but not least, save the image and we're all done. So a beautiful picture from a grey day, and one that I'd be only too happy to have on my wall.